Welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I'm Gavin Macaulay, my name and username on eToro. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Today we continue the theme of ending the season strongly with another black star. One of the most recognizable faces on eToro. Mon Dieu! Here we go. Episode 49 of Copytraders Club, and incroyable it may be, but Olivier Danvel is visiting the Copytraders Clubhouse today. I've been dusting down my old English-French dictionary just for this moment, and here he emerges from the limousine. Olivier, bonjour, bienvenue au Copytraders Club.
Bonjour, Gavin.
Well, I can't believe Olivier Danvel is among us. It's very exciting. I know you've listened to a couple of episodes, Olivier, so there are some quickfire questions to get through first. Are you ready for those?
Yes, shoot.
Username on eToro.
Olivier Danvel.
Date you joined eToro.
January 2017.
Date you became a popular investor.
January 2019.
Year of birth.
1975.
Place of residence.
France.
Profession.
Fund manager.
Briefly state what you aim to achieve on eToro.
On eToro, the main goal is to become, from the inception, a popular investor and to share my ideas of investments.
Name one of your investing heroes.
My wife, she is investing a lot of her in me.
Name one of your favorite investing books.
My business partner, Sebastian, he is very interesting to read, and I learn a lot of interesting things from him.
That completes the formalities. Let's proceed into our VIP section here at the clubhouse. The magnifique Copytraders Lounge. Olivier Danvel, are you ready for this magical transition?
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay, Olivier, here we are now in the Copytraders Lounge. Your surname is Danvell, not pronounced Danvell. I keep getting that wrong prior to hearing you say it.
Yes, in French, I should say Danvell. In English, I say Danvell, like people can say there is an A instead of E. So Danvel.
Well, here at Copytraders Club, we're multilingual, so you don't have to make exceptions. So it is, in fact, Olivier Danvel.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now then, you say your place of residence is France. Whereabouts in France?
I try to be discreet about the exact location, but it's in near the Riviera in south of France.
Okay. I ask because I studied in Lyon for a year at university.
Yes, I did my army in Grenoble, so it was close to Lyon, and a lot of very nice restaurants in Lyon.
That's true. And lots of great skiing in the area.
Yeah, exactly. I bought my first pair of skis that time when I did the army, and I ski a lot every weekend.
Me too. I skied a lot during the week as well, instead of going to my classes. All right, so what did I use for research for this chat? I saw you on various videos. There was Marvin Guermo's interview. There was videobourse.fr in French, which I watched and struggled through, although I was watching their version, which had subtitles, which was handy. And I also see you on the TV Finance channel. Can you tell me a bit about that? Because I asked Hugo Manonti about that and he knew nothing of it. It looks like a very professional TV channel, but it might just be a little YouTube channel. Which is it?
It's quite popular in France. It's still a web TV, but they are also streaming on national bigger ways and big newspapers like La Tribune or Figaro, Les Echos. So there are many people that are listening to their interviews.
And they have a couple of main contributors from eToro, two guys, one called David Derry and Antoine Fraisse-Soulier. You know those guys?
Yes, of course. I meet them sometimes and during the year. And they are part of eToro from France. And then they are very active every week on this TV channel.
They're eToro employees?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Olivier, you must forgive me. I'm very rude. I didn't offer you a drink. Here we are in the lounge, and it's the festive time of year. Would you like a little Christmas cocktail?
Yes, with some martini, if it's allowed to mention.
Oh, you can have whatever you want. I'm here to make your dreams come true. Jasmine, two, please. So, instead of me asking all the same questions that I saw you were asked on those videos, let me run through the quick Olivier story, and you can correct me if any of this is wrong, or we can pick it apart. You loved numbers since the age of 10. You studied business and finance. You were inspired to enter the financial markets by a visit to New York in 1999, where you visited the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Quick point there. Everybody knows that the New York Stock Exchange is in Wall Street. It occurred to me I have no idea where the NASDAQ is in New York, so I looked it up. Is it West 42nd Street near Times Square?
Yeah, exactly. It's it's in a corner of Times Square. Yes.
You bought your first computer and started trading French stocks, then futures, and finally Forex, working with your partner of 19 years, Sebastian, who's already got a mention. This developed into managing other people's money, improving all the time, becoming more consistent, and you selected eToro as the best option to choose for social trading. eToro, of course, began as a Forex platform. Does that all sound pretty correct?
Yes, this is what I said.
Okay. And then you opened a trading school. Tell us about your trading school.
It was a time before we start to be with eToro. We wanted to develop our activities and to build an international image. That's why we enter in eToro program in order to be one day popular investor and to share our ideas. So the same with the trading school. We had a lot of requests from investors inside eToro platform in order to reveal some of our secrets and trading strategies, the way we manage risk, and globally about investment and trading. So we built this together with Sebastian in about 6 months, 9 months. And then we were ready. It's live coaching with me. I am adapting myself to the needs of the student by filling a form with a lot of questions in order to know the students deeply. And then I teach also some strategies. The goal of the trading school is to be independent, being able to manage autonomously all the part of the trading from the beginning, for the entrance of the trade, during the trade, and the exit of the trade. There is a big part of having notes about what is going on, having a trading journal, thinking about the risk management, position sizing, and of course, to follow strictly the rules of the strategy. So I help the student to believe in themselves and to believe in their strategy and to execute all of this.
And the students at your trading school come from both within eToro and elsewhere in the world?
Yes, everybody that contact me, they are knowing me from eToro. I don't do kind of marketing about the school. I let it grow itself. And most of it come from eToro, but from all over the world, Asia, Africa, America, and of course, Europe.
Literally tout le monde. Okay, let's get to know you, Olivier. Tell us something you're very bad at.
I have a lot of difficulty to finish, to read a book. I love to start a book. I love to buy books, but to finish a book, it's very hard for me. I get bored very easily. And that's why also last year when I had to do my 2 exams for keeping my status at eToro, being an elite pro trader, that was very hard for me to read all these 1,200 pages and everything in English at my age. Very not easy. And I still don't know how I did that. For 6 months sitting on my chair from 8 in the morning until midnight, every day for 6 months. But it was worth it. And I'm glad I did it. And I'm very proud of it. And that will be a big part of my life that I will remember for a long time.
Well, hopefully you'll remember these martinis for a long time. Here you go, Olivier. Cheers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. With also an olive, like my name.
Yeah, so those exams, you did them both at the same time, 3 and 4, back to back?
I was on the level 4 because I was already elite pro. And we had to do 2 exams in wealth management. So I did the first one, learn from April to August. And I succeed after, not on the first time, after the second time. On the second time.
So did you go straight to level 4? Is that what you mean? You don't have to do level 3 if you go straight to level 4, right?
That's right, yes.
Was a lot of it stuff that you will never use?
Oh, yes. There is a lot of financial formulas that I never used in my life. For the first exam, about 25 formulas. For the second exam, about 65 formulas. A lot of things, statistics and calculation that I never use for my trading all my life.
And you'll probably never use again.
That's right.
But I was talking to Sharon Connolly, the PI, and she was saying she did hers remotely. Did you do yours remotely?
Yes.
And you have to film the room and show them that you've got no books open or screens open, and you've nothing in your ears, and you can't even write things down. You have to use a calculator.
There is a calculator on the screen. You can't also speak, and I like to speak in order to understand better the question. I like to speak to myself. I wasn't able to do that. They're also checking the back of the ear. They're checking the hands, empty pockets, everything. It's Fort North.
Crazy. Okay, let's have a question from the art of people. Olivier, can you pick a number between 1 and 10?
7.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing and why?
I was spending time with my wife and my 2 little daughters, obviously.
Okay, Olivier, let's turn our attention to your computer screen, where I will ask you to read a little bit of your bio, please, for the listener. If you could read paragraphs 2 and 3.
Yes. Professional fund manager for more than 20 years. I am the world's most copied popular investor specializing in Forex trading. My low-risk strategy aims consistent positive returns, 60 months in a row since inception in 2017. With strict money management rules, My target is 1% per month on average. I monitor currency pairs all day to find the best entry. There is some money management, scaling position for perfect entry. The risk control is a big part of my strategy. I care a lot about my copiers' funds that I consider to be mine.
Okay, lovely. Now, you've obviously just updated that because some of my notes are out of date from last week.
Yes.
The first one I was going to say was 54 months of positive returns in a row since inception. Is that correct?
Yeah, now it's 60. Yes.
Now it's 60. Although it did say positive months in a row, and I was going to point out that February 2021 is the 1 month in that huge period of time that is not in fact green. It's a grey round zero. So I was going to go on to say, the question I asked myself was, is zero positive? And I found a very interesting answer, which you're going to like. It really depends on the context. In common use in English language, zero is unsigned. That is, it is neither positive nor negative. In typical French mathematical usage, zero is both positive and negative. Or rather, in mathematical French, x est positif, literally x is positive, allows the case x equals zero, while x est positif strictement, literally x is strictly positive, does not. So because you're French, you're allowed to say zero is positive.
Yes, exactly. Zero is positive, and on eToro, it's an average. So the number was a little, it was between 0 and 0.01. So it was still positive.
And did you petition them to make it green? Make it green. It must be green.
They should believe in this and to make every zero green. Yeah, for the comfort of the psychology.
Okay. And there was another point which has disappeared from last week. I researched you before Christmas. It said, I'm very close to my 3 million plus followers that I thank every day, which is gone now. But I was going to say your follower number now stands at 4.85 million.
Yes.
4.85 million followers. That's incredible. The most on eToro. Le plus suivi.
Exactly not the most followed, but the biggest followed on eToro is Yoni Asia. But I think it could be not relevant enough. But the real trader is me, the most followed on the platform.
So how does it feel to have so many people following your activity?
It's very comfortable. I really enjoy. Many people are getting in touch with me, and that's why I changed a few days ago, my bio, and I asked everybody, like a call to action, to go to my website to register their email, and because they receive very insight information that I don't share on eToro regarding coaching, motivation, investments that could be real estate or other or cryptos. It's a place that I can share very interesting things.
So 4.85 million. I mean, there's only 20 something million registered accounts. So that's a huge proportion. How can that number be explained? Well, there's definitely part of it has to do with how much eToro loves you.
Exactly.
You are pushed to the front of the line at every opportunity. I've created 2 accounts on eToro, and both times I signed up, I'm automatically following Olivier. You know, when they show profiles on the marketing material, there is your familiar face. And when they do panel chats, there's Olivier receiving praise from the aforementioned Lord and Master Yoni.
Exactly.
You must recognize how positive their treatment is of you.
Yes, we need to be clear on the signification of this number 4.8 because there is a lot of automatic follow from the new customers. I think they are a selection from where in geographically the new client is coming from. So they are selecting a few people to automatically follow outside of Asia. Like this, they have already a list of people to follow according to eToro wishes.
Well, so it must be nice to be so very loved.
Yes, I received also, I think it helped a lot for the growth of investors in order to understand better the markets. And they have my inputs and my vision. There is a lot of popular investors that are trading on stocks, and being on the top 10 trading Forex, I think I'm the only one. And being so, I think, I'm the only one on Elite Pro Trader. There is one or two on Elite, and then on Champion, there is also one or two. But only a small part of people that are trading Forex and indexes. Nearly 80% are trading stocks.
Well, let's talk about something else that separates you from the crowd. If we just take a quick look at your performance. In fact, I don't need to because I know what I'm going to say. It's a sea of green, and there are literally no red months since the time you began, which is quite appropriate to talk about right now, I guess, because a lot of PIs are in the red, a lot of copiers are in the red, and it's quite easy for people to poo-poo your small returns when times are good. But it's at times like this, I guess, that quite a few of them might be looking at your portfolio and thinking, I could do with being a few percent in the green.
Yes, I'm not looking at my competitors inside the eToro platform as popular investors. I notice that the index and most of the stocks are going down this time, but I'm not looking at checking the performance of everybody in the top 10 or top 20. I'm just doing my job, and this is enough for me. I love to see only green, and this is also the same for my private investors and my other strategies. I like to be in profit every month. This is now my branding name, and I like the way to be continued like this for a long time.
Okay, let's talk about your risk score. Is your eToro risk score fair?
There is a lot of things to consider. The basic understanding, if we are aware about the formula, how it's calculated, the average risk. So this is one thing. And my risk score is representing exactly what we see on the graph. But also the drawdown, it's a very big part of a Forex trader. Usually we don't put together the closed trades and the pending profit and loss. But here in eToro, everything is calculated together. We have instantly real-time position of the account, and everything resets the first day of the month. And this is a way to see investments. I can say that the drawdown is subjective, and nearly 95% of the time during the month, I have a very little drawdown exposure. It's grow sometimes maybe 3, 4, 6 times a year for a few days or few weeks. So we need to consider other environment and parameters in order to appreciate the real profile of my investments.
Yeah, the drawdown stats on eToro don't show intraday drawdowns, do they? I heard you saying on another interview that you found that eToro's statistical representations were very different from other platforms. And then I think you mentioned something about adopting a strategy to align with that.
Exactly, yeah. That's why there is big difference presenting numbers. And I think this way of presenting statistics is very good for stocks trading, not so much for Forex. because of the leverage we use and the strategy, most of them in place during the month. So we had to adapt to this blank page. We need to start every month. Most of our trading is building a position. It's because we have very active trading. We conserve a trade for a few days, sometimes 1-2 days, sometimes 2-3 weeks, not more than that. So we have a different consideration about like stock traders for the long-term positions. So we had to adapt our strategy, but it was planned from the beginning.
Okay, before we move on from the risk score, I have to make the same point to you that I make to everybody else, which is that here on Copytraders Club, we only deal in maximum risk. Average risk to me seems like an eToro metric that helps them monitor PI behavior. But it's of limited interest to a copier. The copier wants to know when their money is most at risk. You know, Peter Lynch talks about many 6-foot-tall men have drowned crossing a river of an average depth of 5 foot. I've probably butchered that quote, but something like that. You get the point. So while your average risk over the past 12 months is 1, every month except April when it was 2, the little lines do indicate that the max risk is at times up to 3, and I've seen in videos about you in the past, sometimes 4 and 5. Can you tell us what's happening to cause these spikes?
Yes, this is completely part of the strategy. The strategy is accumulating positions according to the movements of the markets, according to the positions we have. The strategy can be called counter trading strategy. And the goal is to be enough close to the momentum price in order to follow the trend of the market. And when the market is overbought or oversold, and when it starts to have a pullback, this is when we exit our positions and we take some profits. So this can last few days, few weeks, and not more than a month or maximum 2 months, according to the strategy. That way, there is some peak of big drawdown because the market is excessively out of its range. And then when it come back, we exit with profit. So it happened, but it's not on a constant level. It happened few hours, few days of bigger drawdown. But like I said earlier, 95% of the time, it's a very low risk strategy.
So can I get Olivier Danvel to agree with me that eToro should change the way they display it so that it's max risk that should be emphasized over average risk? I don't expect you to say yes.
They are presenting average monthly risk score over the year, but the daily max drawdown, the weekly and the yearly one, I think they are effective, if I don't mistake. They are really what happened during the year. So what I am expecting from eToro is to be fully transparent and to expose the full history of my trading. We see all the performance from the inception of the account. Why not to show also the risk since inception? I'm not opposing anything from that. I would be glad to see that.
Okay, let's talk about your copier numbers and assets under management. Copier numbers 7518 and your copier graph, if I could just describe that to the listener who may be lying in a darkened room. Well, it's a pretty steady line across. There's some deviation, but it's kind of like an unsettled glass of water. There are no great spikes, no great drops.
Yes, it's stabilized since 1 year, about 1 year. From the beginning, the first weeks when I became a popular investor, it reached nearly instantly 3,000, 4,000 copiers. Then it went in few months at about 7,000, then 10,000. Then it got back to 9, 8, and 7,000. Now it grew up again.
You became a PI after 2 years on the platform, you said?
Yes.
Is that part of the reason why you got off to such a good start? Because you already had that 2 years of record and a steady risk score and visible returns?
We asked eToro to be popular investor after 3 months, but we had to deal with them because they didn't appreciate at that time. We were not enough diversified in our trading because we were trading only Forex, and they wished that we would trade also stocks and index to be part of the popular investor program. But then they changed their rules in 2019. That's when they agreed to accept us inside the popular investor program.
Okay, it says on your profile, assets under management 5 million plus. I don't see a link to your fact sheet, so I can't quote the precise number. But I did see you in another video say that you brought eToro a cake each time you hit certain assets under management levels. 5 million, 10 million, and $15 million. So have there been any other cakes since then?
Exactly. I was very close to get 20 million. I think I reached 19.5 and already developed some ideas to what would be the next form of cake that I wanted to come in eToro, to take the plane and to have a meeting with all the team there. I did at 5 million, at 10 million, at 15 million. That's right. And that was amazing meetings all the time.
And where did you go, to Israel or to London?
To Israel, all the time to Israel, yes.
So you've been to Tel Aviv on a number of occasions?
Yes, of course. And also I developed some business there. So I come to Israel a few times, so yeah.
Is Tel Aviv a cool city?
Tel Aviv is very occidental city, like I know in south of France or Paris or London, the same.
Now, I wonder to myself whether an Olivier Danvel copier invests a larger amount than copiers of other PIs, given that preservation of capital is mostly for those with significant capital. Younger investors with smaller amounts of capital are generally advised to be taking more risk in the early years, tapering off when they get older. So I wonder if the profile of your copiers tends to skew more old and wealthy. Do you have any idea about that?
From the 7,000 copiers that I have, I think the average of copy is $2,000. I know that I have a lot of people above $100,000 in copy. I think my max is 400,000, 500,000. Anyway, for each account, you can't copy trader with more than $500,000. So you need a few accounts if you want to follow somebody with $5 million. This is the limit of eToro.
Do you have any perception of what the average copier amount is for most PIs?
Yes, I do sometimes the calculation when I see the fact sheets of other popular investors. Not every popular investor are mentioning their fact sheets, but for the one I saw, it's about that. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on average per copier. So I am on the average of every popular investor.
Okay, trades per week and average holding time. Trades per week 6, average holding time 1 week. Does that paint an accurate picture of your activity?
Yes, we need to consider, because of the strategy of scaling, we see the trades as a global position, and we enter multiple times for a global position for a single currency pair. So when we see 6 trades per week, we need to consider that it's a lot of different positions for the same global trade concerning one pair. So during the month, I do about 20 position, but effectively, I'm more about 4 or 5 different building of trade.
Okay, let's talk about communication. I'm just looking at your feed here and I see more or less monthly updates on your eToro feed. You're not one for making lots of YouTube videos? Unless it's a giveaway for your birthday. Happy birthday.
Exactly. Yeah, I post all my interviews on my YouTube channel. I should start in few weeks to do some live streaming, and also with a company called Share Vision. And I asked somebody to set up me OBS background and all the setup to start. So I need also some conviction myself to be confident and to start this. But I think it's part of today's world to do live streaming, and I will be part of that too.
Well, the camera loves you, Olivier. But I imagine there's a limited amount you can talk about when you don't have, 50 stocks to review. You're talking about a small number of trades. There's a limited amount of content, really.
Yes. Strictly about the strategies, there is not much to say. Also because I never comment my open positions, because you never know what will happen the next minute or the next day. I care about what I say, and I don't want to be responsible of what I said if something changed. So I'm always wait in my newsletter that I do every month to speak about what happened during the month. I have no predictions. I never say predictions about anything because my loyalty of my mouth is very important for me. But there is a lot of things to talk about outside of trading and outside of my positions. A lot of things in the psychology of trading, in the behavior of investors. So there is some content.
Dear listener, just a little pause here to say a few things directly to you. The calendar is full until the end of the year. That will mean 52 episodes, which seems like a good time to pause and call it Season 1 and take stock. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of time and effort, but I'm pleased to be creating something of value for eToro users, particularly Copytraders. Whether there will be a Season 2 depends on a number of factors. I say it elsewhere, but I want to repeat it again here to really encourage a little action from you. If you want to see the podcast continue, you can help by bringing more listeners in. A lot of people still don't know about Copytraders Club, so post about it on your PI's feed in eToro. Mention it on a Facebook group or in whatever Discord groups you're in. That's not too much of an ask, is it? On the podcast apps, there's always a share function that includes copy link. Use that. Or copy the YouTube channel link and share that. Or share a link to your favorite episode. There are many ways to eat an orange. I also have one of those affiliate links for new eToro signups in every episode's show notes. So, if you know someone interested in signing up, please copy and send them that link and help support the show that way. Now, I know these calls to action that you hear on podcasts can easily be ignored, and I always ignore them myself, let's be honest. But this time, I am asking you, as someone who listens to and enjoys this one-person independent podcast, to make a little effort to help it along. You can even press pause and take 2 minutes to do it right now. If you do, know that I am grateful. If you don't, every time you hear this bit, you will be overcome with a crippling sense of guilt and unworthiness. Until you do. Back to the show. Okay, Olivier, let's have a little look at your portfolio. As I do with everyone else, a quick glance at asset class allocation has a very short answer: 2 currency pairs.
Yes.
You said you like it because it's high liquidity and the least manipulated market. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yes, I start my trading life trading daily stock markets of French companies 20 years ago. And I saw a lot of manipulation in the order book about a number of contracts, volume, and I didn't appreciate that. And for me, even if it was the French market, but also after a few years, I did the same with New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and Standard & Poor's 500 indexes, and I saw also a lot of manipulation. There is, like we say in crypto, big whales, and they are active in the markets and in order to eat all the small investors. So I didn't like that. And I was looking for the biggest markets in the world, and that was currencies. And I love it because also it's unlimited exposure. I can have a click on my mouse with a $1 billion investment. It will represent nothing from the daily volume.
So how about commodities and indices? You've traded those in the past. Do they still periodically arrive into your portfolio?
Yes, I think every month I do 1 or 2 trades about index. Less this year commodities, but index, when I see a good chart exposure like a technically analysis, I jump in it and I see oftenly the Dow Jones or the DAX that we call in eToro now GER40. I see this index going up and up and up all the time, and I short it all the time because it's very abusing this high and high and high all the time. So we need some people that short the markets in order to be equal.
You describe your strategy as being unlike the vast majority of traders because you're not restricted to buy in the expectation of a price increase. In Forex, you can make money when there's evaluation and devaluation.
Most of the time, I like to go long, and that's mean when I go long, the market is going down. And I scale my position as the market is going down and down and down because it's a counter trend strategy. So I like to be in the movement of the market, and I think it's not the way that the pair is traded. Normally the pair should be up because the left side of the pair represent the base currency. So that way you have normally a chance to be in phase with the decisions of central banks and governments and all the financial actors. And that way it's more easy to be long on the Forex markets. So I choose that way to execute my trading.
When I look at any portfolio, I look for issues of desync. None of these ever trouble your portfolio?
No, I don't have issues with desync.
Because you're in and out so frequently?
I don't have experience about that, but I exit my positions every few days, so maybe it's the cause of desync.
To what extent is Forex non-correlated to the wider stock market?
There is mainly the stock markets that is following projects of teams and companies. So they are working on selling a product. mainly from results of quarter or annual results. On the other side, currencies is the opposite. Every currency, every government doesn't have to sell anything. They are just controlling the inflation and other economic statistics. So we are not on the same environment and on the same psychology of the markets. That way, I see that there is a big difference between trading the two assets.
Yeah, big difference, but are they completely non-correlated? Like in the event of a market crash, the currency markets are also going to be experiencing disruption.
Yes, the volatility would be equal to the volatility of the stock markets. Then when you see that stock market is crashing down, the currency itself is impacted. So you have the consequence, obviously, on the currencies markets too.
I'm disproportionately exposed to the Forex market personally. I have a significant proportion of investments in a managed Forex fund, which I've had long before I came across eToro. And it does quite well. And I don't see much correlation in the results. Although when I ask the managers if they're completely non-correlated, they always downplay the non-correlative aspect and say we're still at the mercy of these forces.
Exactly. We are still at the mercy. And from my side, inside on my daily basis, I do my trading according to what I feel from the markets. And we receive a lot of information and we do a lot of fundamental analysis in order to know what we want to select, which pair we want to trade. Then when we are closer to the entry point, we analyze more inside technical in the charts. And also for the exit part, according to the technical analysis. But because it's only a short period of time that the trade is last, only few days, we are out of every big statistics, monthly statistics, and longer term environment. So it's more active trading, and we can not to care about what is going on macroeconomic influence usually.
Okay, you say not to care about macroeconomic influence. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy. You say always respect the plan. To me, that creates the picture of a trader kind of following a checklist with limited room for emotion or acting on instinct. Is your system as controlled as that?
Yes, the system is coming from Sebastian's brain and my brain 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's all manual trading, so nothing is automatic. And that way, we need to be really focused on what we are doing. And controlling our emotions is a big part of that. And we had now, for the last 20 years, enough time to take care about that. So it's a big part, but we evaluate over the years and we transform ourselves being robots. And for me, it's the same. I am a human or I am a robot. If I am executing the same strategy, it doesn't matter who I am. I am only an executor.
Well, I can confirm for the listener that you are indeed a human. It's interesting that you mentioned Sebastian there, because another thing I wanted to talk about was I saw you giving an answer where you said that between you and your partner, Sebastian, you cover the full clock. You cover the Asian and first half of the European markets, and Sebastian covers the second half of the European markets and the US market. Is that how your eToro account is managed?
Yes, it's this is our eToro account, all the other accounts, the crypto accounts, everything. We have 2 times 12 hours and we are simply split it into two. So I have my part. He has his part. During the day, let's say in Paris time, 8 in the morning until 10 in the evening, we share a lot of hours together discussing what was going on my part only and on his part only when I'm sleeping or when he's sleeping. So we have a lot of discussion all day long, and in order to have a better insight of the markets and what will follow for the next hours.
So what sort of a relationship do you have with Sebastian after 20 years of working like this?
For sure, he's part of my family, like I am part of his family. 18 years together, it's a lot of time. I remember when I didn't move yet to south of France, I was in Paris for 10 years, and we lived together, I think, 3 years in Paris and also 3 years in south of France in the same apartment. So we had a lot of time together building our strategies and also building ourselves to be confident in the strategy, confident in ourselves in order to execute properly the strategy. We loved that. And now it's more distance because he is in Paris. I am in south of France. But now with internet and we are all the time on communication.
Well, it must be tough to keep the double act going so long. And also, you're the public face. Nobody knows what Sebastian is. When people are on eToro and they see the Olivier Danvel profile, it's really Olivier et Sebastian.
Yes, I like to mention that all the time. We had to choose only one name when we started the account 5 years ago. Yes, I am the public face, and it's suitable for me, and it's also suitable for Sebastian to be in the shadow. It gives him a lot of things that I don't have, and that way we are complementary. And it's very interesting the way it is now to have a public face and to have a shadow face in order to be complete and much more powerful.
So did you both agree that you were the more handsome of the two?
No, we never comment with this sentence, but it's a way of taste.
And when people see you responding on your profile, is it both of you sometimes? Or do you always manage all the communication?
It's only me. It's only me. I am the public face, even on my website, in the chat. It's me. It's me. I answer all the emails. I do all the Zoom calls with my investors. So it's very important to have freedom of thinking. And I love the way Sebastian is acting in the shadow. It gives him a lot of room to think.
Yeah.
And it's completely different for me.
Sure.
I am now managing my international image and is on something else, but together we manage all our activities. So it's the way it is. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, and I imagine you sometimes run into maybe some problems that are specifically yours because you are the public face, and then he's able to give you clarity on what's important and what's not.
Exactly. The same with my wife. She has an external side of this. And when I share everything with her, because I share everything and also everything with Sebastian, I like to have different interpretation of what is going on. And it's very impactful.
Olivier, we've had a very pleasant chat so far, but no one at Copytraders Club can go away without any difficult questions.
Okay.
It can't just be me making everyone look good all the time. I addressed desynchronization with the PI capital gains. I told Wesley he was a very naughty boy for quoting lifetime returns. I even criticized MJ Lux for the very worrying practice of wearing cravats. So we've covered all the wonderful positives of Olivier Danvel, and clearly lots of people love you. So now, among some on eToro, you're quite a controversial character. And I think we need to talk about that a little bit. So I'm just going to say what the criticisms are and give you an opportunity to respond.
Yes, sure.
Of all the PIs I look at, you seem to attract the most criticism, and some of it's very aggressive. So I wanted to talk about, well, why do you think that is, firstly?
From where it comes?
Well, I see it on your feed quite a lot of people questioning you and sort of giving you abuse.
Yes, I think a lot of this comes from a lack of information and education about what is going on the trading and how to execute a strategy. I am very specific in the markets because my strategy is counter trend. It's very unique the way it is. But I think most of the complaint comes from the performance and the way I have evaluated in my copiers and the income I get from eToro doing this job over the years. There is a lot of complaint, and they are saying that the amount of income I perceive is not in adequation with the result I procure to my eToro account. I have an answer to that. The way I act in my eToro account is not only focused on the results. I think I can bring a lot of things that are outside the results. The behavior of trading, how to manage positions, how to be confident in the strategy, how to build a strategy, that has nothing to do with my results, but it's part of me. And I have a lot to share to all the investors in eToro and also outside eToro in my insight that I give to my to the people who register on my website. So I'm sure I can bring a lot of things and not only results. I have very good performance, not only on eToro, but outside eToro for my private investors, also in crypto. So I'm not here just to talk about my eToro results. People can criticize me on small parts. It doesn't affect me a lot because I know who I am and what I have to bring to the financial world, and that's enough for me.
Yes, I see that a lot. More and more I'm seeing that on eToro, that PIs often do bring many things other than results. They're bringing their personality, they're coming from different angles. And there are so many copiers out there who are looking for different things that there's really room for everyone, I think, on eToro.
Yes, every investor has to diversify his own portfolio. So there is stock traders, Forex traders, index traders, crypto traders. And I think everything has in his own place and is on his own level. And everybody is welcome to eToro platform.
Can we get a little bit more specific on it? The criticism I see on your feed seems to center around these things. Number one, which we just talked about, your results. The accusation is that you're focused too much on continuing your green months record and keeping your risk score at 1, because that ensures your continued success as a PI and, as you mentioned, prolongs the receipt of your salary. I think you've already responded to that, really. So let's deal with number 2. Specifically, one of the criticisms is that halfway through the month, if you're in green, you might cease trading and sit back to lock in the green. If approaching the end of the month in red, you might suddenly and hugely increase the size of your trades, possibly using up to 20 times leverage, in a last-minute effort to close in green, taking more risk to lock in a green month. What do you say to that accusation?
It's I love that every month to finish in green. It's it's very good to have profits every month. So I don't understand that criticism. I don't understand. They want me to be in red. I don't. They want negative results. I don't see really the point. They are not enjoying themselves, having profits every month. I don't see really the real reason behind this. But it's true. Everything, all the criticism, because there is a part of truth in that. People, they need to understand that I am constantly trading for the last 20 years. It's my current job. So I need to challenge myself also in order to have the same perseverance and the same consistency. And it's very important to be consistent. So when I see that approaching the end of the month in red, if I have an opportunity to make it converting in green in a matter of 1-2 days or maybe 1 week, why wouldn't do that? So I'm making efforts. It paid all the time. So what can I say to that? All the time that I wanted to execute my strategy and make efforts, it paid all the time. I never reach a certain point that anything is uncontrollable. So all the time I invest very securely. And even if it was leverage 10, long time it didn't happen, leverage 20. I think last year or the last 2 years, it happened maybe 5-10 times positions and not trades. But clearly, most of the time, the execution was very precise. And when I start to use leverage 5-10, I'm very sure of what I do. And this is my quality of work. So because of my motivation to finish the month in green and to start the next month in a blank page, I need constantly to get motivated at what I do, and to have good results, it's very important to be consistent.
Okay, so I guess the follow-up to that would be, if you found a way to make significant gains, like you have to at the end of months, without any increase in risk, why don't you do that all the time and get higher returns?
Because in trading, it doesn't work that way. You are not pushing a button and saying that, okay, this is today, it needs to happen. No, you need to wait for the market to give you an opportunity to take value from the market, extracting profits. And it doesn't happen every second, every minute, every hour, or every day. So sometimes you need to be patient, and it's a very big quality of an investor and also a trader to be patient, to look for opportunity, to constantly analyzing the markets. And you can put yourself in a stress, but if you put yourself in a stress constantly every hour of the day for a whole month, you will not be effective enough to be constant every month. It doesn't work that way.
So who should copy Olivier Danvel?
Everybody that has savings at the bank should put his money in eToro, and a part of it to follow me.
Okay, you say a part of it. So what role should you play as a PI in a copier portfolio? And can you describe that ideal portfolio with you in it?
Yes, you can see me like a current account in order to put your savings on a safe strategy. And I am completely feeling this way of strategy. So you should have a diversification of portfolio, having half of it in stocks, then 25% either on index and commodities or crypto, and 25% on Forex. That should complete the portfolio.
So maybe 4 PIs or something. If you were a copier, you might have 4 PIs distributed along those lines.
Yes, I think between 3 and 5 PIs should be the right amount, not to diversify too much between the PIs.
So who shouldn't copy you?
I think nobody shouldn't copy me, but if there is some people, the people who are comfortable with not investing money and leaving their money at their bank account, that should be the case.
Okay, what other PI would you say you know the best on a personal level?
First time I had a toast with eToro in Amsterdam 2 years ago, I met Yebe and Jay Nemesis, and we had quite a nice chat with Jay Nemesis. Now we are talking, we have like we call a PI dream team, and we are a few of us being elite and elite pro, and we are chatting sometimes on different subjects.
In WhatsApp groups or something?
Yes, on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
We have our Discord group, and we have some chats according to the actuality of eToro or the actuality of the markets, and it's very insightful what we can share together.
But you aren't friendly with other PIs in mysterious locations in the south of France that you can meet for a little aperitif?
I don't know. I only during email and the chat, but not in real meetings.
Not IRL.
No.
Okay, final question, Olivier. If you were in my shoes, what question would you like to have asked yourself that I didn't?
I would say that for me, it's important to be close to Olivier Danvel, because one day it could have the answer of my question, and it can bring me what could change my life.
So what's the question that I was supposed to ask?
How to be close to you.
How can somebody get close to Olivier?
Yes, how to be into the inner circle of Olivier Danvel, sharing vision.
Okay, so how could I get into the inner circle of Olivier Danvel?
Just to register in my website, olivierdanvel.com, and you can receive relevant information.
All right, Olivier, you're always working. Very good. Well, look, thank you very much for giving us your time today. It's been great to have you.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll do it all again some other time further down the line. Thanks, Olivier.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So there you go, listener. That was Olivier Danvel, Black Star Forex trader. Not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm sure the controversies will rumble on, but Olivier appears to be very comfortable with his approach, and many thousands of copiers agree. That's all from me. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. It's just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.